Ruthless, Rabid, Raging, Ravenous, Rampaging, Remorseless, Repulsive, Revolting, Repugnant zombies. We are in the home stretch here. I have too much information I need to get done before the end of NaNoWriMo, but I have it split up by pages in my notes so that I can get all of that finished. And, roughly a 2,500 word a day goal will get me to 50,000 words, but I want to finish the novel, so I may exceed those counts a good bit as we go along. All right, racing on down, not trying to make anyone dizzy with scrolling through this story, but when you get close to 50,000 words, them's a lot of pages. All right, so chapter 19 was where we left off, and it's a little less than 2 pages, so I can read that to kind of get myself back in. Waldo has been fighting his way through this city of zombies and now finds himself in some strange territory that's run by somebody, but he can't really tell. And this young girl who's he's been running into a few times through the city has now found him. Waldo had a gun go off too close to his ear, and he can't hear out of one side, and it's affecting his balance, so his eardrum may be busted or not. But how much more can we do to this guy? Well, I got about 16 more notebook pages of things we're going to do to this guy, and roughly a little less than 10,000 more words of stuff that's going to happen to him. So let's see what happens. We'll dive back in with chapter 19. Waldo hung his head. Standing was taking great effort. Fighting would be difficult for him now. But he whispered under his breath without realizing the thought was coming out loud. Let's say had. Go simple. All right. Whoever that is, one of us dies before this is over. All right, I should back up a little bit more from there. Before this chapter, he rose to his feet and waited for his balance to return before thinking about zipping up the pack again. He's got some kind of MacGuffin inside this pack that he's trying to get somewhere. Stop. That voice was close, and his despair grew heavy. So then we have him thinking about that one of them, either him or whoever this is speaking, is going to die before this is over. She stepped around into his view. She'd redone the tight braid on her head. Let's fix that typo while we're here. Save me some trouble when I start editing. With no loose strands of hair sticking out anymore. With her unusual blade sheathed at her side. Apparently I'm desperate to not use R's anymore. I used up all my R's in the title, and now I don't have any left for the pronouns. She looked young enough to be a kid playing a part, pretending to be some kind of warrior. She probably was exactly that young, but in this world there was no pretending anymore. All right, let me have him say all right, get this pencil out of my way. I'm not using a pencil. He had seen her use that blade against zombies. She might be a preteen, but she was as close to a warrior as anyone left in the world. All right. I feel like I'm hitting my keys really loud, so I apologize if that's coming off too loud. Maybe it's inadvertent ASMR, I'm not sure. Here she was, his shadow from this impossible of days. You survived, she said. Then she looked him up and down in a pointed way. Well, I guess you did. Your ear is bleeding. You're covered in every flavor of zombie shit. Are you bitten or shot? Waldo was surprised. He still had any skin left after today. He cleared his throat twice before he said, I'm everything except bitten and shot. All right, I'm going to make that italicized, so we're emphasizing that word. All right, Tom Duffy. Guess you should take that pirate patch off picture since you can't use R's. I'll see myself out. That's good stuff, man. Don't leave. Don't leave. That's the kind of stuff we need in this chat. You're really raising the level here. Armand is impressed. Did you see him say wow? That's impressed. That's not a sarcastic wow. I think it'd be italicized if it was sarcastic. All right. After that wonderful interjection that has made my day, Waldo was surprised he still had any skin left. I already read that. She stared at him with her hand on the hilt of her blade. Waldo spoke with a little more certainty. No, I'm not bitten. Glancing into the open mouth of the pack and back up at him, she asked, "Is that really what I think it is? Really? It's for people who need it, not me. I'm sure it is. Did you find it here? I don't know where the hell here is, girl. I found it where I found it. I need to get it out of here, out of this city, to people who need it. They can use it." All right. CC writes, "Rated." Thank you for another raid there, CC. I appreciate it. All I need to do in life is just time my streams right at the end of yours, and then everything will be perfect. But thank you very much for being here. And anyone else who hangs out for a while from CC's stream, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the follow, Nikki writes. I appreciate that. All right. She stared at him with her hand on the hilt. He already did that. It's for people who need it, I'm sure. I would think so, she said. They helped people I really cared about, Waldo said. Important people to me, so I'm helping them. She reached up and touched him with 2 fingers on his shoulder. When she pulled her hand away, Waldo realized he'd been drifting in that direction. He would have fallen otherwise. He silently stressed about his chance of ever getting this stuff where he needed to go. Let's say, if he couldn't even stand up straight, the effing zombies could keep their balance better than him now. The effing zombies could keep their balance better than him now, and they were dead. All right. Maybe that's a joke that some zombie fans will appreciate. You don't want to be here, she said. These are bad people. Waldo tended to agree based on his brief interaction so far. Why are you here? Hey-o, thanks for being here. I appreciate that. She narrowed her eyes, shook her head, and looked off and up to her left. Hard to get clear of a bunch of zombies some guy keeps leading around the city, no matter how hard I try to get away. Of course, she's talking about him. Waldo rolled his eyes. Should I say that? Should I mention that she's talking about him? I'll say he knew she was talking about him. He was the only... No, that wouldn't be true. There's other people going through the city. He knew she was talking about him. Waldo rolled his eyes and regretted it as he nearly lost his balance again. A couple guys in a truck did this. What? Never mind. I think never mind is actually 2 words. I never get that, though. Daniel Volpe is here. I don't know how to pronounce your last name, man. I always say it as either Volpe or Volpe, and I'm not sure what's right because I haven't actually met you in person, even though we interact regularly. But Daniel's here with his snakeheads. Maybe you can tell me which one. Is it Volpe, number 1, or is it Volpe or some variation of that, number 2, or number 3? Am I nowhere close? Let me know, Daniel. It'd be nice to know how to pronounce your name correctly since I like you so much. All right. She just stared at his hand without offering... Okay, never mind. He extended his right hand. I'm Waldo. She just stared at his hand without offering hers. Did she not remember handshakes? Then he really looked at his own arm, painted in red and black with all sorts of smeared patterns in the coating of gunk. It's pronounced Valopay. Okay. Valopay. All right. I'm going to call you that from now on, man. I'm not really. I'm just going to call you Daniel. When I have a name I don't know how to pronounce, which is often now that I have cognitive disabilities, I either just do a lot of, hey, man. I'm going with Pepper. Okay. There you go. I just go with, oh, hey, man, how's it going? Act like over exuberant about how much I appreciate seeing them again, or just use the first name, or I just run over the last name, like mumble right through it real fast, as if of course I know how to pronounce this, but I talk quickly, that kind of thing. So those are all my moves with names that I can't pronounce. Feel free to borrow any of those that you want. Okay, so his hand was covered in gunk. He considered offering his left hand that currently held the open pack, but he recalled all the things he had handled with it today, too. He tried nervously to wipe off his hands on what remained of his ragged clothes. Small bones spilled out of his pockets. This wasn't his day. Sorry about that. Sorry, he said. I fisted a zombie earlier this morning. What? She snapped at him. No, that's not what I mean. I don't know what that means. All right, I'm going to do an emphasis there. I don't know what that means. She was young and had grown up in the age of zombies, not in the age of internet access and streaming. Good, that's good. I mean that I punched he made a punching motion in the air with his gory fist as he tried to come up with the words to explain himself. I saw you punch one through the head this morning, she said. It's been all disaster for you since then. You should really get a knife. Let's say, or something. Okay. Well, I may not be able to say Daniel's last name, but I can spell something correctly. All right. Something Bloodfist. All right, so this is where he gets his nickname Bloodfist. He took a moment to zip up the pack. Looking down at his bloody fist, he figured he had gotten worse nicknames in his life. That one was actually pretty badass if you hadn't seen him bumbling his way through the city all day. Have you thought about wearing gloves? It wouldn't be a bad idea. There's lots of things he should be doing. He's not been the most competent, and his luck tends to wave wildly one way or the other all through the story. Have you thought about wearing gloves? That's a good line. I may put that in. As he shouldered the pack again, he said, "Well, my name is Waldo. What's yours?" A man stepped around from the front corner of a shipping container, towering shipping container that towered to Waldo's left. "Lexus, I just knew we'd find you creeping around eventually. Didn't know you would make it so effing easy, though." She reached for her blade, but he closed the distance so fast it caused Waldo's vision to waver again, and he drifted on his feet. Almost ignoring Waldo, the guy, who was closer to her age than Waldo's, locked his hand over hers to keep the blade sheathed. He pushed the much smaller girl he called Lexus backward into a pile of crates on a pallet to Waldo's right. He then bent her over backward against the top edge of those crates. Lexus showed her teeth and squinted her eyes up at her aggressor's face. I'll keep it like that. I was going to put into, but this is fine. You know those Cones vets made dogs wear. Yeah, maybe put one on his wrist and keep the blood spray down. That's not a bad idea either. It's better than his idea, which is just kind of blundering his way through the city. One of the themes in this is that he keeps trying to get weapons and they never quite work out. I get many silly thoughts when watching zombie movies. I think there's room for silly in zombie movies. They go bad pretty easily, where they become just really bad movies. So if you can lean into the humor a little bit, I think that helps the whole thing. Waldo took a step toward them, but the guy used his free hand. All right, let me switch a possessive pronoun for the pronoun there. His free hand to point a handgun. All right, see, now I got too many hands there. Used his other hand to point. It's going to have to be handgun, isn't it? I'll at least make a compound. Around his side at Waldo without really looking. Don't. Both of you chill. I don't know what you're thinking coming here, but you picked the worst possible day to F with us, you stupid little... The bone stabbed deep into the guy's ear with such practiced precision from all of Waldo's earlier struggles, not his earliest struggles. I guess his earliest struggles would be like, learning to walk as a kid and stuff like that. This was his earlier struggles, as in earlier today. He still had even more bone shards in his pockets, but this was the sharpest one he could find. Waldo, earlier in the story a couple chapters ago, find himself hiding in a pile of bones, and so that's how all the bones ended up in his pocket, which I mentioned again earlier, so that they could be used at exactly this point. The gun roared, and the shot passed harmlessly to Waldo's right, zinging off at least two metal and one stone surface behind him. The concussive noise did all the harm. Waldo cried out and staggered to his left until he slammed into the ribbed side of the container with a hollow boom. Waldo covered his right ear. let's say bleeding right ear, because it has been bleeding from the earlier gunshot. Waldo covered his bleeding right ear with both hands as he moaned in pain. All right, now, I've had this brought up before by zombie fans who've watched earlier streams, that of course there's the idea that even just a drop of fluid from a zombie could potentially change you. And so he's covered in scratches and his ear's bleeding and his hands are covered in nastiness and all sorts of things. He's skinned himself up on the road and been splattered again. So there may be a point along this way where Waldo has to pay the piper for all this all these injuries and splatters that he keeps blundering through. Lexus, between the bone stabbing and the stray shot, drove her blade straight up under the guy's chin and used the leverage of her hilt to lift him away from her before she dumped him off the end. Dumped him off the point, let's say instead, to bleed out on that clean white concrete. She snatched up the gun from the ground next to the dead man's open hand. Lexus made it disappear and then grabbed Waldo rough by his shoulder. He startled, but didn't pull away from her. As she eased him away from the support of the container, she spoke toward his uncovered left ear. "Can you move?" I think the trope for a single drop came from 28 Days Later. Yeah. There's been a few different ones. In the remake of Dawn of the Dead, they had where you could get splattered and turn pretty easily. But then there were other situations, where a guy like cuts himself while floundering about in a fountain, and they didn't follow through on that. Oh, good. We got a landscaper out here somewhere. If anybody has anything you'd like to ask the landscaper, I'll scream it out the window at him. Also in Beaches, get out of here, Armand. No, I don't really want you to leave. That was a friendly get out of here. All right. Again, enjoy the soundtrack of somebody cutting down bushes 10 feet from my house. All right. I can't hear because of all that cutting out back, but I can move. That's the spirit, Waldo. That's how you get going. They weaved between the containers and stacks of random scavenge. Waldo took some small pride in his ability to stay upright. His vision did pulse in time with his heart. He just tried to be thankful that it was still beating. All right, so that provides enough of a little action break there before the next nonsense I throw at them. A zombie in what might have been a flight suit all right, I guess that's 2 words. I would have made that a compound word, but I'm not in charge of English. I just speak it. All right, a zombie in what might have been a flight suit lurched out from around the side of a storage unit, the way they tended to do. All right. Let's say Lexus. I also like the fact that he told her his name, but she didn't actually tell him her name. He heard it from somebody else saying it. So there's really at no point that she's introduced herself in the midst of all this. So I kind of like that aspect of them sort of meeting, but not really. That there's always sort of this little disconnect between the two of them. So they're, I guess, in practicality, they're operating as a team, especially now. But there's always this distance between them in that sense. Okay, Lexus moved blurry quick. I think I've already used that phrase before. I like it too much not to use it again, so I'll need to edit one of those out. Blurry quick, slicing open its head. And threw it sideways. And through, not it, let's say through the body. Jennifer Aniston is like, what? All right, Lexus. Jennifer Aniston doesn't introduce herself to people. Is that what that was from? All right, Lexus. In any way you mean that is funny, Tom. I don't know what you mean. Lexus moved blurry quick, slicing open its head and through the body. Let's say the falling body sideways through a stack of empty plastic buckets. Anytime you throw somebody through a stack of empty plastic buckets, it's great. I've got way more J coin than Mondo coin. Oh my goodness. I need to do better about getting into Mondo's stream every time he streams so I can earn some channel points. He's kind of made the mistake of opening up all those things where you can make him like stand up and stretch and drink water and all that. He'll regret that. I can't wait. All right. Throw through empty buckets. All right. These things are everywhere. She said as she shook sticky brains off her blade. She also doesn't clean her blade up very much, which is going to cost her at some point in the future, maybe not before the story's over. Behind the fences now. Hopefully they'll keep the marauders busy while we slip out. All right, marauders is one of those words that I don't use often, but when I use it, I misspell it. All right. Armand's using an emote. Okay, these things are everywhere. How do you know these people? Armand Rosamelia redeemed. Get Jay to tell a fun fact. Oh no, he's making me pay for one I put on there. I should have made that higher. All right. One fun fact: I don't like collecting things. I used to occasionally get into collecting this or that when I was a kid, but it was usually something someone else gave me, and I never really got into it. I always ended up finding a way to just kind of stop and get rid of it. And I guess books is the exception. I do kind of collect some books. But I think it might have been last Christmas. I think it was last Christmas, maybe the Christmas before, but I think it was last Christmas. People started getting me Funko Pops, and it was like 3 different people. Armand got me a couple. My wife got me a couple, and so I think it was unconnected, but I got Funko Pops related to Stephen King, so I have 5 of them behind my computer up here. But then, like, I felt it coming. Like, I felt like that, this is going to be the thing people start buying me, and now I'm going to have a collection. And so I said, I specifically told people, please don't buy me anymore. Like, I don't want to collect things. I don't want to have to find a place to put things. So I don't have anything against people who do collect things, but it's just not And it's not that I'm a super organized person where I don't have any clutter in my life, but I can't I can't take on the responsibility of collecting. Some of you are great at collecting, but not me. So that's my fun fact today, or for this time. I do not want to collect things. I don't like that. All right. How do you know these people? Is there a Jay Wilburn yarn doll? Not yet. Not yet. I'm sure if you bring it up, my wife might make one. Oh no, my wife is. I mean, oh good, my wife is here. Generama, another fun fact: you just opened yourself up to getting more Funko Pops. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right, I can always trade them in for some real money. All right, I would never give away a gift you guys gave me. Shh. She said. She said as she pulled him sideways into the space between containers from where the zombie came from. All right, I know that feeling. People give me statues of dragons for years, and now I have boxes of things and no place to put them. That's I wouldn't say that's my nightmare, because there's worse things in life, but we don't have a huge house either. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that, like, there's not like a bunch of, hey, let's put things on walls or store things in shelves, or put things up so there's not a lot of that. So like I spend a lot more time like kind of cleaning out things than I do actually collecting things. Now, if I had tons and tons of space, who knows? Maybe like in my mansion, I'd have a Funko Pop room or something like that. And maybe I'll have to get one now that my wife is opening me up to getting more. Waldo ended up kicking one of the loose buckets on the way into cover, causing it to clatter down the aisle. All right. I will need a list of the ones he already has, so I don't buy him the same ones. Yeah, because that would be the problem. I mean that Armand was now shopping for more Funko Pops for you. I'm not getting you anymore. Okay, all right. At least my wife's on my side. And again, I would appreciate anything from you guys. I mean, not getting me Funko Pops would be great. I mean, if you're looking for something for Christmas, so anything you don't get me is fine. I'm not picky. All right. He did not meet her eyes for fear of seeing them roll at him again. All right. Armed men marched by on the next aisle over. Okay. Voices overlapped, but the ringing in... Oh, clatter, nice. Is that a good word, or am I... voices overlap, but the ringing in Waldo's damaged hearing washed out all the words. I'll say all the conversation. Okay. Nauseous pain rolled through his skull and down into his gut. Alright, Waldo's in bad shape. Oh, conversation. Nice. Alright, man. Alright. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. I'm going to take it as encouragement anyway, even though I see what you're doing. Another undead visitor. This one naked except for its socks. Let's say dirty socks. An undead visitor, this one naked except for its dirty socks, shambled into the hiding space with them. The men were still talking a couple lanes over. Just out of sight. Alright. Sorry, PG, forgot it. Yeah, keep it clean, Frank. Keep it clean. No code words in there. I don't even know what those things mean. Alright, men we're still talking. Waldo started to move toward the monster. But she tapped his shoulder and put a quieting finger over her mouth, over her closed mouth. What the hell did that mean? Kill it quietly? Probably kill it quietly. All right. He shrugged as the rotten, naked thing reached for them both in the tight space between containers. Waldo tripped it. One of its dirty socks slipped off the foot, missing a couple toes. Waldo tried not to look. Zombie toes really bothered him now. Okay. Let's say easing the struggling creature to the ground. He used his gore-covered right arm to muffle its moans. All right. He waited for it to bite down, but that pain never came. It sniffed his arm as the muck over Waldo's skin smeared on the zombie's blue lips. Let's say across instead of on. Alright, moving right along with this grossness. Okay. Okay. Lexus. All right, Lexus slowly pushed the keen point of her blade into the zombie's, let's say prone, the zombie's prone, into the prone zombie's scalp. There was a small pop and the sound of released gas as the blade squished down into the skull, inch by inch. Sorry for anybody that finds that gross, I apologize. The corpse finally went still. Lexus and Waldo waited for the men to pass as their heated conversation receded deeper through the open storage area. Okay, oh, we got a sun flare. It's like I'm making a new Star Trek movie there. Ew. I don't know why my wife is on here. Not that I don't appreciate her support, but there is nothing here she's going to enjoy. Okay. Good grief, that's a lot to cover. Am I doing all of that today? 2, 3, 4, 9. Yep, I'm doing all that today. All right, let's keep this moving, folks. Jay Wilburn going to be busy. All right. They left the body on the ground and skirted up the next aisle away from where those men had gone. Coming upon a man screaming as he clawed the concrete. Okay, I need to be more specific here. I really just want to know how to get these things I can redeem to make you do stuff. Well, in your case, Jenny, or Jenarama rather, all you have to do is tell me that that's what you need me to do, and then that's pretty much what's going to happen. I think that's about it. Now I know you're going to say that if that worked, you wouldn't have a problem, but you don't have to redeem channel points to get me to do stuff. Okay, coming upon a man screaming as he clawed. Do you want me to put channel points in? All right, I may do a new thing with channel points where I'm going to ask my wife things that she wants me to do around the house, and then I'll put them down for like 10,000 channel points or something. And every time you guys redeem, I have to stop streaming and put on the be right back sign, and then run and like do laundry or massage her feet or whatever it is she needs me to do. That'll be off camera though. Coming upon a man a man pinned, coming upon a man pinned under a feeding zombie. Yummy, yummy. Screaming as he clawed the concrete for the strap of his rifle just beyond reach. Waldo and Lexus jumped over the monster's back. This is going to be a long sentence. Coming upon a man pinned, Generama says that would be the best Christmas present ever if I exchange if I exchange channel points for doing stuff around the house. All right, we'll consider it. We'll consider it. It's cheaper than anything else I might be able to pick up from Amazon, and Twitch being a Amazon product, by the way. All right, we are playing games with the sun here today. That one little gap in my blinds is where the game comes from. All right. Coming upon a man pinned under a feeding zombie, screaming as he clawed the concrete for the strap of his rifle just beyond reach. Waldo and Lexus jumped over the monster's back and continued on without the dying man or the thing feeding on him even noticing them. All right, that is a long sentence. I think it's fine though. Okay, the man screaming, they run past him. They pulled up short. I've done that all the time. They stopped at the edge of the last container before the concrete opened into a wide space extending to the next line of chain link fence. All right. Several people were shooting. It took Waldo a moment to locate the group on top of a raised platform far to the left. Okay, I need to make that a new paragraph. Men and women fired down. Okay, sorry, I'm hitting the wrong keys here. I should really learn to type. Okay, oh, we got another flare. All right, let me see if I can come back the other way. All right, there we go. The sun has passed. I have a sundial here that tells me I need to keep moving on this story. All right, men and women fired down into the gathering of undead. Others stabbed downward with long poles. Bodies went down. I'll say bodies fell, but not as quickly as others gathered. Okay. Can make sure I don't have the word gather in there too many times. All right. How far is your settlement, Bloodfist? He blinked a couple times as he processed what she was asking. He didn't like how slow his mind seemed to be moving. Alright, so just outside the city, east-ish, I guess. East by northeast. Okay. She stared at him for a couple beats. Any way you say it, that's far. Yeah. Okay. Is your settlement good people? He considered a moment. Not my settlement, really. Haven't known them long. Not my settlement, really. Haven't known them long. They helped people I loved. Those people are gone now. Those people are gone now. But let's say it's a long story. It's a long story. I promised I'd help them. Okay, let's say she shook her head. That stuff in your pack. Blood Fist. They'll give me us. They'll give us food in exchange for it. Alright, so she seems to be negotiating something here. Hopefully she's a good guy. They'll give you food anyway. They'll give you food anyway. They're good people. Okay, so we're establishing some stakes here. Okay, how far outside... Okay, how far outside the city? East-ish. Oh, someone's printing. Probably my son who forgets I'm in here. How far outside the city? East, eastish, north, eastish. Alright. Hold on just a second. I'm going to take a break here while this is printing, and I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. My son needed to print some stuff for math. That printer behind me will also start making noise again in just a few minutes as it cleans itself or something like that. It is a noisy beast. All right, Tom Duffy. I'll just highlight all my chat while he's while he's gone. All right, man. There you go. All right, how far outside the city? East, eastish, northeast. Okay. There we go. There's some more noise. Printer that needs to clean itself after every 2 pages it prints. Printers have to be like the most annoying, unwieldy pieces of technology we've ever invented and never improved. I gotta say that. I hate that thing. All right, how far outside the city? All right, let's have him say, do you know the Parkway? The Mountain One. Printer's still making noise. If anybody has any questions for the printer, let me know and I'll shout them back at the printer. The Mountain One named after a president. She nodded. He wasn't sure that really meant she understood, but he pressed on. All right, nah, the improved ones are just expensive. Yeah, I don't know. And then you always got the thing where, like, of all the technology, the printer's the one that never wants to connect up with computers correctly. I can send stuff all over the world from this computer, but like sending something to the printer, it just kind of depends on the day. You know, is the printer in a good mood? Does it feel like working with my computer today? Who knows? He says only a couple miles out from where that starts. That's too close, she said. This struck him as odd. Finally, I'm back. Hey, Kedman. I dropped in on Kedman's stream very, very briefly last night. Kedman, of course, is in Sweden, and I think it was like 1 something in the morning, and I'd just been piddling around getting things done. I was getting ready for bed and saw that he was on, so I came on real quick to give him a message, and then I went to bed. It was morning on his side of the world and middle of the night on mine, and right now it's probably like evening, late evening. Real life work, yeah. No, nothing worse, man. Nothing worse. That's how they get you, the real life work. All right, that's too close, she said. This struck him as odd since she'd just said getting outside the city to the east would be far. She continued. All right. Company I work for only used Chaoceramitis for years. Never a problem with them, even the ones from production printing at 10K pages a day. But we also paid for the reliability. I guess so. You're probably, if you're doing 10K pages a day, you're probably talking like an industrial model. My brother-in-law used to work with printers and that kind of thing, and copiers, and of course, at that point, copiers had the printing functions too. And even him being an expert in them, they were always like breaking, and he's always having to fix them and that kind of thing. All right. These people will find them soon. They're already expanding their patrols. All right. So we got this conversation going. All right, not too bad. I'm probably going to come in right. I think I got this paced out pretty well. I was kind of giving myself grief for how much more I had to write to finish the story, but I think I got it. Kevin says my father worked in a factory with recycled paper for various uses. Produced recycled paper for various uses. They're high-end office printers. They're all laser printers, of course. Yeah, it's a weird. We're in a weird era in the sense that we still have to print things. I mean, there's still necessity to have things out on paper from time to time. At the same time that we're largely moving paperless in so much stuff. That it's hard to tell like where that's going to go. Like you're almost de-incentivizing making that sort of process better, even though there's really no prospect of it ever being completely unnecessary. So over time, it may get worse and more expensive. Do people still use fax machines over there? Not often. There's a lot of fax functions on computers and stuff, but it's kind of the joke that. I can't fax from where I am. I live in 2021. All right. Okay. Waldo watched the Horde. Let's say growing Horde. The growing Horde pass diagonally. Faxes are required for some legal uses. That's true, but then a lot of that's going digital too, even though it's technically still a fax. I think we're kind of the terms are blurring these days. Weird PD and print them out. No need for fax machines. PDF, yeah, yes. PDFs, yeah, you're right. PDFs have kind of become this sort of staple that can be sent, but then we've also reached a time where PDFs can be changed. It literally has to be transmitted over the phone. There are people that require it, and it's so outdated because it wasn't that long ago that if you had a problem on Twitter, they wanted you to fax your ID and stuff to them, and I know somebody who had to try to go through that because they had cloned accounts or that kind of thing, something weird, and every time he tried to run his ID through a fax machine, they're like, we can't read this. You need to use this computer program to fax it up. So it's why even bother? But that wasn't all that long ago, and that was with a technology company. So I think some of those things are relics of an earlier time. This idea, and now there's people that think NFTs now, non-fungible tokens, are this out there sort of thing that people are selling for weird amounts of money and all this wonkish stuff where you have to pay for it with a particular type of electronic currency and use a certain wallet and then go to a marketplace. But there's a lot of people that says there's potential if all that stuff goes to the background, like the way that online banking is done now, that NFTs, which are kind of a novelty right now, could replace everything from concert tickets to contracts to everything else, because you kind of have that essentially non-counterfeitable token that would serve as, you know, electronic signature and all these other things that could replace that stuff. But the way they're set up now is kind of dumb, because they're almost like these collector items that are overvalued and all that stuff. NFTs are so freaking dumb. The propaganda is amazing. Yeah, well, yeah. The way they are now, it would have to become something different, like not like the collector's item kind of weirdness that it's at now, but go to the practical function of it is not being counterfeited, but this idea of like, well, I'm going to put a painting in an NFT and now it's like that part is kind of a rabbit hole that doesn't see its full potential, and it may just go away. When I see a computer who had Windows 3.11, my nostalgia kicks in. I need to fax an order for Jcoin soon. Oh, okay. All right. I'll get let me get the carbons to you. I have a site license for 3.11. All right. Waldo watched the growing horde pass diagonally in front of them on the way to the platform shooting gallery. He said, this is the most dialogue I've had in the story so far. Yeah, they're doing great. Yeah, the Marauders. All right, again, another word that I'm not going to spell correctly ever. Yeah, the Marauders seem to be doing great right now. Okay. Lexus rolled her eyes. Your friends, they'd be wise to move farther away, but I'll help you get your stuff to them if you talk them into giving me supplies. All right. Waldo sighed and said, they'll give you what you need. All right, let me add something here. He realized he was reading her lips to make up for his diminished hearing. All right, Waldo sighed and said, they'll give you what you want, what you need. They'll give you what you need, even if, let's do a thing there. Okay, sure. It's a deal. Lexus squinted at him and then pointed through the flow of zombies Okay. Through that hole. All right, through that hole in the fence. On the other side of the tarmac. See it? Okay. Yes. The one on the other side of all those zombies with more zombies coming through it. I see it. Good. Come on. She bolted from cover without waiting. Okay. New chapter. What's going to happen next? I don't know. You're going to have to listen. All right, 19. So now we're at 20. That's how numbers still work, right? I've been writing the story a long time. I'm not sure if numbers have changed. Maybe they're like printers and fax machines. They'll just never go away. All right. Where did my pencil go? I have no pencil. I can't write anymore. Okay, there we are. Okay, mark out everything up to the chapter break. Cutting them down as she went. Waldo did his best to keep up, but kept falling behind. As zombies filled in the space behind her, behind Lexus, Waldo had to shoulder or shove them one way or the other. All right, to find a good name for your characters who finds it hard. I find it hard to think. One thing I do, okay, and this is actually a trick that I use pretty often, and when I'm not doing NaNoWriMo, unfortunately I haven't had to come up with character names for a long time here, but when I'm doing regular streams, each day I do a new story, a new short story, and so often I have to come up with names, and I try to, even if I'm not planning the story ahead of time, I try to come up with character names and street names and town names, and if it's kingdom names, if it's something fantasy or that kind of thing. So I try to come up with that stuff ahead of time, so I'm not just constantly thinking. One of the jokes I have with Armandro's Amelia here is that I keep using the name Jeff over and over again. So if I'm not careful, I'll have a bunch of stories with Jeff in them. And I was actually doing a short story collection years ago where I was going through, Fantasy Name Generator is a good one. I was going through several stories that I put together, and I was editing them, and I kept coming across stories with a Jeff in it, so I had to limit myself to one Jeff for the entire collection and change names everywhere else. But one thing I'll do is if I'm just doing a normal story with normal people names, I'll do the top 1,000 baby names, and have, there's a list for boys, list for girls, and then I'll just kind of scroll up or down depending on how obscure I want the name to be, and I'll just pick a name from there. And I can do the same thing with surnames. And then one thing I like to do to get something different is I'll pull up a list of street names from a particular town. So I'll just pick Cleveland or Los Angeles, or pick a random town out of Texas or wherever. And sometimes I'll pick a small town somewhere if I want it to be a little more obscure. And I'll just scroll down through the, three different kinds of Jeffs, or 7 different kinds of Jeff. Lots of Jeffs, lots of Jeffreys. Almost all with the J though. I never took it with the G though. That was my mistake, I guess. But I'll use those street names, And what I like about it is that, I can just scroll up or down through whatever letter kind of strikes me. And street names, there's enough variety to where like you can find like unique town names. You can find when I want to do like a kingdom name or a fantasy name, there's a lot of names in there that are really good, that sound right for that. And yeah, I'll do that a lot. I'll do that to get last names. So if I want to get a last name that's kind of different from everything else I've done, I'll just start pulling street names from random towns. So a lot of times I'll have tabs up that are just the street names from a list of street names from 5 different cities. And especially if I want to go somewhere else, I'll pick a city outside my country and that kind of thing to get some different names. And so I'll pull a lot of like town and street names that way. Armand says, I actually talk about you using Jeff a lot in an upcoming The Mondo Method episode. All right, Mondo Method podcast. If you're a writer, check that out. That's good stuff. I've discovered I like using Jasmine and Mackenzie as names. Kedman says, if you do a present-day story like a crime novel idea, you can always use Google Earth to describe different places in the world without even being... I do that a lot, too. And I've done that with zombie stories. Like if I have zombies walking through a particular town, I'll actually pull up the town on Google Earth, and I'll just kind of drag along through a street and describe what I see. So like if I have people running, I'll actually say, okay, well, there's a theater and it's made from pink marble tile. And so I can describe that and how it looks kind of dingy and weird. Or then I'll see, okay, there's an apartment building across the street. It has gates. There's like a courtyard with plants in it, so I'll do description that way. So I'm with you on that, Kedman. That's kind of a fun way to really, you can do it with anything that you're kind of moving through an area. You can create a lot of character that for a town that like just out of your head, you'd kind of tend to repeat yourself a good bit. Back to what you're talking about with Jasmine's and Mackenzie's. I would tend to repeat names. Jeff was the worst offender, but like there was actually one where I used the name Gunn more than once. So like I had like a sci-fi story where the pilot's name was Gunn, and then I had like a school thing where the security officer, his last name was Gunn. So I was like, okay, we gotta move away from this. And I didn't even remember doing it. Like I just remember pulling it. I when I went back, I didn't even remember using that as a name at all, much less twice, but I found it there. We tend to get caught on that stuff. So it's always good to go outside your head to find some of those things, because you end up repeating things a lot without realizing you're doing it. And a lot of times when we're writing, we don't think about the idea that if a person reads more than one story from us and we keep using the same phrase in more than one story, then they're going to see it repeated too. So it's variety is the spice of writing, I guess I'm saying. All right, so Waldo was running through here, shoving people aside. Each impact was felt deep in his ear canal, like a drill into his skull. All right. Keep talking about his hurt ear, but I don't want it to be a situation where he just suddenly heals and everything's fine. And the cat with the blurry face sitting on the fence jumps off, runs away. We do repeat things a lot. Okay. A shot whizzed by in front of him. Okay, I think there needs to be an H there, right? Whizzed by in front of him. It moved too fast for him to track it with his eye. But as it passed through the bodies of the undead, he could see the... I'm using the word viscera too much. He could see the torn flesh and clotted blood streak along in the bullet's wake. He ran onward as if it made no difference that he was surrounded by monsters and running through a killing field. All right. Good stuff, Jay. Good stuff. Keep it going. All right. Goes through the path. F-U. He breathed out with no real feeling behind it. All right, where are we? How far am I going? 42.5. All right, I'm doing good. I'm pacing good. Okay, almost to the opening in the fence. All right, Kedman, the audio theater darker projects have some episodes from David Moody's Autumn, a zombie novel. I can tips you about it. Yeah, I love that. I love that novel. It's very understated, and the pacing is not slow's not the word. The pacing's interesting, and that like it's a slow build, and the characters. I'm finding the wrong words because everything I'm thinking of saying sounds like I'm criticizing it, but like the characters' emotions are kind of muted, and so you kind of have this like there's like this heaviness to the people who've survived and the world they're in and the prospect of the future, and them trying to find something in the world to fight for and all that kind of stuff. So Autumn is a really interesting novel. Now, some zombie fans that want all action all the time would find that pretty heavy, and there are some pretty heavy topics in it. But that's an interesting one. I think it deserves to be looked at as a classic. That's a good one. It's been a long time since I read that one too. Almost to the opening in the fence, the zombies thinned out. Not counting the ones still entering the fence. All right. Say just a little farther. Has a deliberate pace. There you go. That's the nice way to say it. Kind of moves slowly, right? Yeah, it has a deliberate pace. Of course, some readers take that as a code word for slow, but that is perfect. That is a perfect description. Autumn definitely has a very deliberate pace. I like that. All right. In a rush of ripping metal. Couldn't post the link. That's all right. In a rush of ripping metal and grinding engine parts, a truck leveled the fencing across. All right, in one of my novels, a wizard starts a zombie attack because she gets mad. Zombies are an interesting go-to. If you can find something new to do with them, there's always something. Of course, who knows what if people are going to consider this new, but we'll see what happens. As he covered his right ear against the noise, the legend across the side of the modified fire truck flashed. Flash by. Okay, that works. And now we'll write this out again. Dead City Dire Truck. All right. Moving right along. Yet more zombies followed behind the ruckus of crashing fence and the sparks off the spikes of the dire truck's tires. Let's say wheels instead of tires. Wheels. There we go. All right. 41,400 so far. I'm doing great. Got a weird idea of an alien novel, a religious cult who uses those creatures in bloody ceremonies. Their victims praise the demon good before the monster bursts through their chest with a smile on their faces despite the trauma, pain, and death. That's interesting. If you can do cross-genre and make it something people haven't seen before, there's always potential in that. More zombies following through. Okay. The truck swerved across the busy tarmac, plowing over some of the undead while missing others with the blades welded on the sides by inches. Say by mere inches. Fancy. All right. As the truck drifted lazily through the crowd, a bloody trail formed. The truck bounced. Did I use bounced already? Nope. The truck bounced off the stone wall of a building, gouging it and tearing off one of those imposing blades. The sharp piece dragged the ground in a horrid screech as the razor wire peeling off the side of the dire truck stayed tangled around it, around the piece. Nope, I already said piece. Around it. We'll just say it. Okay, there's a great comic where the little alien on the ship, or the little alien is on the ship and thinks about getting the cat. The images, he imagines a future of cat hybrids. Morse, the little alien, nopes out of the idea and hunts down the humans. That's funny. platform. Waldo whispered as he kept his feet moving, but kind of lost focus on his direction. Instead of a hole in the fence, the entire fence was the hole now. Right. The dire truck did indeed take out the platform. It clobbered 3 of the supports, denting the front grills welded over the windshield area. Then it veered away again. Okay, they veered away again as the passenger side wheels blasted through pallets of supplies and tore the heavy doors. Okay, let's spell passengers correctly. I don't need an O in there. All right, the passenger side wheels blasted through pallets of supplies and tore the heavy doors from their hinges off the front of containers. All right, so as that was going on, the shooting platform first tilted and then flipped. The screams of all those people under the bodies of the zombies who caught them seemed to go on forever. Waldo couldn't shake the feeling that none of those men and women looked much like bandits or marauders to him. Why were the men in that truck killing their own? Waldo had picked up that their names were Pete and Crow. He wondered if being bitten by that zombie head that had spun up into their cab had driven them mad in some way. Should have rolled up your damn window. One creature took Waldo by the shoulder. He flailed about and got the creature twisted around in front of him. He shoved it to the ground, but it seemed fine to get up and try again. Another grabbed him from the side. Alright, let me remember to save as I go along here. Another grabbed him from the side. Waldo Waldo torqued his upper body and flipped the zombie over his hip onto the one still on the ground. Waldo staggered backward as he struggled with his balance once he tried to stand up straight again. All right, looking good. Okay. What's next? The driver grew weary of raking through the edge of the Marauders. I spelled it right. How about that? Of the Marauders' supplies. Come on, give me some props for spelling Marauders correctly. That's maybe the first time ever. I'll have to clip that. All right. The driver grew weary of raking through the edge of the Marauders' supplies and curved back through the crowd again. There could always be fewer zombies in the world. All right, Kedman, have a good one, man. I know it's late where you are, and you were up early. You were up early in the morning working. I remember that, and you had real work to do too. See you tomorrow. Appreciate you being here. The passenger's middle finger stuck up from his rod straight arm, sticking out the window as they went. The arm was very pale, almost porcelain white, with a deep, dark bite mark, with a deep, dark bite that went all the way to the duller colored bone. Dark lines marking The veins stood out in sharp relief underneath, let's say just underneath that flesh, bled of all its color. Already turned? Impossible. The other dude was still driving with a zombie flipping everyone off from the passenger seat. Cold fingers clawed down the side of Waldo's head. Stay down the right side. Cold fingers clawed down the right side of Waldo's head, flipping his ear hard. He cried out in pain. His voice echoed, and several corpses, previously distracted by the careening truck, turned his way. Waldo growled louder than the zombie as he drove his fist, no, let's say pounded, as he pounded his fist into its face over and over. The skin split first as the nose... Now, let me make this a new paragraph, because Waldo pounding the zombie in the face is going to be its own idea. Okay, Waldo growled, ED, keep it past tense, louder than the zombies as he pounded his fist into its face over and over. The skin split first as the nose crushed into nothing. As the nose crushed into nothing, the teeth caved into the open mouth and down its throat before the lower jaw tore loose from one hinge. The forehead dented, split, and burst in a sloppy belch of gray matter and dark blood. Okay. The twice dead body fell, let's say buckled to the ground. the twice dead body buckled to the ground. His knuckles throbbed, but not as bad as the ear that dispatched, let's say disposed zombie had flicked. The others approached from all sides, not the least bit deterred by Waldo's antics. All right. Good stuff there. I got him punching people in the head again. All right. He turned toward the truck that had looped out far enough for him to see the driver driver's open teeth as, let's say, the dead driver. To see the dead driver's open teeth. No, undead. We want to be specific so we don't just think there's a body over the steering wheel. That's always a trick with zombies. You can use the word dead to describe them, but there's also dead bodies that aren't moving in the story. So you kind of have to differentiate from time to time to be sure we know which dead bodies are dead bodies and which ones are still moving, like a zombie. He turned toward the truck that had looped out far enough for him to see the undead driver's open teeth as he kept his bloodless hands locked on the steering wheel. That fresh zombie really was driving the truck. Waldo had heard rumors of such things, but up until now, he always thought those tall tales were pure BS. All right, zombies are just unhappily dead. There you go. They're not resting or in peace. Okay. Like the passenger zombie, perpetually shooting the bird. This like mad driving zombie was covered in bite marks, pale as death, black patterns of unmoving blood below the skin. With that vascular infection of zombieism. I don't even know if that's a word. Will you give me zombies? No, I'm going to have to invent that. Zombism. Like a root system. No, let's say overlapping, and twisting under the surface. Like a root system. Okay, so we described what they look like dead. Let's roll this right along. Come on. Lexus cut down several monsters reaching for Waldo. She ran toward the barreling vehicle. The barreling vehicle unleashing mayhem across the tarmac. All right. The drivers turned. Waldo warned her. Not that the guy had been all that friendly in life. This is our chance. He had no idea what she meant by that. Yeah, what she meant by that. But she kept running toward the dire truck like she knew exactly what she was doing. What she had planned, let's say. Waldo couldn't relate to that feeling at all. But he ran after her because there was nothing but death waiting in every other direction. Okay, good stuff. He was sure she was going down. She ran right to the side of that rolling metal monster. The blade had been torn off and had finally fallen away, with much of the razor wire that had been strung along that side of the truck. But it was still all sharp points and rolling fast. Not to mention all those zombies tied up on top, and the two inside the cab itself. she snagged the handle beside the passenger's door and was swept up off her feet. Climbing the door as Waldo picked a different angle of approach to catch up. Climbing the door as Waldo I don't need to be fancy here. Let's say Lexus climbed the door. Lexus climbed the door as Waldo picked a different angle to approach to catch up. She opened it. And Zombie Pete, he guessed that was Pete, fought her with one hand as the other arm and finger stuck out to his side in a permanent FU. Gesture. Okay, moving along. Waldo put on speed just as the truck veered back his way. His eyes went wide as he leapt for the handle. And got onto the running board next to her and the open door before he would have been swept under the wheels to be chewed apart into so much zombie chow. Alright, good stuff, good stuff. Alright, we're approaching 42.5, which is my goal today, but we're also approaching where I need to stop in my notes, so we may go a little bit over. Lexus fought her way around Zombie Pete and appeared to be engaging the undead driver. As Pete tried to turn to bite her back, Waldo seized him. Waldo seized him by his FU arm and pulled him to the edge of the bench seat again. Okay. Zombie Pete snapped his teeth a couple times and almost pushed Waldo off the truck. The wheels ground up a few more zombies in their path and splattered the back of Waldo's legs. Alright. He used his filthy right hand. He used his filthy right hand to reach in Pete's mouth and pulled him off the seat by his lower jaw. All right, by his lower jaw. Pete swung his arms as he fell, but missed grabbing Waldo. He tumbled away as the truck rolled on. Waldo started to climb up onto the seat. Let's say through the open door, through the open passenger door, just as a severed zombie head with the spine still trailing behind it flew across the cab at his face. He leaned back and away too swiftly, and his feet lost the running board. As the door swung open wide, Waldo held onto it with his arms looped, with his arm, let's say his arms crossed, with his arms crossed through the open window around the frame. His feet swung out into space. Okay. How far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where are we going? end day 17, somewhere around here. 1, 2, 3, 4, end day 18, somewhere around there. So I want to get some of this down. Pulls them aside. All right, something I want to add up here. Snapped his teeth, his lower jaw. Pete licked his gray tongue around the back of Waldo's hand, swirling the gore. I'll say swirling around the gore there. Swirling around the gore, caked there. All right, super, super gross, as zombies should be. All right, licks the back of his hand, yanked him off the truck. Zombie head attached to the spine. Swing out over the open door. Okay, let's say we'll stop right around here. Okay, as the truck circled through the messy tarmac again, hands slapped and pawed at Waldo's legs as he swung by just over their heads. Okay, I think that's a good place to stop. And I'm roughly at where I wanted to stop. Okay, the truck circled through the tarmac again. So we're going to pick up with them riding along on this zombie-driven truck. 9 words. All right, that was a lot of material to cover today. So we got the 18th, 19th, 20th. I got 3 more days to finish up this story. I mean, I have till the end of the month, but I'm going to finish on the 20th. And it looks like I have it roughly paced to about 2,500 words per section if I don't get onto tangents too much, which I hopefully will avoid. All right, so we're going to take a peek at my face again as I get ready to update my NaNoWriMo. So I've already forgotten what the total was. 42,629. 42,629. So we'll update to 42,609. Is that what I said? Good Lord. 29. Okay. 42,629. I am happy with that total, even if I can't remember it. I'll update my progress. Okay, why am I looking at this? What is this? Did I miss? Okay, why? All right, hold on just a second. I don't know why it's giving me this. You put 420,000. Oh, God. All right. Okay, let me see if I can fix this. Oh, Lord. All right. And Nano's just going to accept that number like not... Oh, God. 426,000. Oh, no. Okay, let's see. I may have ruined NaNoWriMo, so let's just see if I can fix it. Okay. All right. Okay, let's update. I don't even know what happens. All right, so I have an extra 0 in there. 42,629. not as happy was that when I was with 420,000. So let's update. No, that's not right. Oh, for goodness sakes. All right, so I have apparently broken Nano. You can fix it in the stats. Okay, let me see if I can do that. All right, let me see what it'll do for me. And I look at my profile. All right, it's got me back at 42,000. It already says that I've broke it. All right, so great. Thanks a lot, Nano. All right, so let me peek in the stats. NaNoWriMo. Let me look at stats. All right, looks like I fixed it. But I think it's just going to say that I meant the thing. Wow, I drive home and you've written 380,000 words. Apparently, all I have to do is lie, and Nano is pleased with my results. All right, so now that that nonsense is in place, all my buddies are going to be so confused. All right, let's take a peek at Oscar real quick. Oscar Jones, Demons and Disaster, he got to 50,439 words yesterday. So Oscar has completed NaNoWriMo. He did it for real, not the way that I said I had gotten 420,000 instead of 42,000 words. Oh, that stuff is really confusing for a guy with cognitive disorders, I tell you that. I couldn't figure out what was going on. Of course, I'm going to edit that out of the... hold on, let me change mine to 5 million. All right. Tom Duffy, I don't know if he's updated today, but we have 42,058 words, so that may be today's total. Good job, Tom. I mean, it's no 420,000, but still, I'm proud of you. All right, so let's see who else is making considerable progress. Let's check on this guy. All right, I have Armand at 36,058 words. Very good job. And again, he was writing more than one book, so he's gotten around to doing this. He's going to update it to 5 million to make up for the nonsense that I just did. Hopefully I can still track after that, but who knows? I guess it doesn't matter in the long run. All right, good job, Armand, and I know you probably got more to put on today. I'm taking the day off, but still managed a couple K words. That's not bad for a day off, I'm telling you that. All right. Who else? Alex Ramaya was doing something interesting. He did a little bit of this last year, too. He has a separate novel that he's working on, but Home for Christmas is a short story he's working on for 1,300 words, and he did 686 words on it. So he's keeping us on track, or keeping us updated on some extra writing he's doing. Nothing wrong with getting some short stories done, and excellent job there. All right. Anyone else updated today that we want to give a mention to? Have you updated? No, you have not. I'll scold him off camera, not on camera. There's no reason for that. All right. I haven't gotten permission from him yet. I need to ask him. Okay. It would have been cool to see his stuff, though. Has he updated? I know he was writing today. It's interesting he hadn't updated. He may have just not gotten around to it. I know you can't see who I'm talking about, but I don't want to put someone on camera that hasn't covered. So I think that's about it for today. After my debacle of trying to write down that I had done 420,000 words. If Armand wasn't here, I literally would have never figured out what had happened. Hopefully that'll update and not say that I've defeated Nano now that I had to go backward a little bit. Oh, goodness gracious. That may be today's total, but I might do some more later. Depends. That's fine. And you're well ahead of the 30-day pace anyway, so you have a comfortable cushion there. Again, I'm going to do 3 more days of this, and whatever I need to finish on that last day, not only to get 50,000 words, but to finish the novel, which is the most important goal. I'll get that done on the 20th. I'll be back on the 23rd after that to do short stories again, but I'll do another Nano update, see how many more people have finished. And we'll look at an article that I wrote for Lit Reactor last year, after last year's live stream of Nano, at lessons I learned from that, and then I'll kind of update it as I'm reading through in terms of talking about what I've done differently this year and that sort of thing. So it'll still be Nano related.